I'm going to show you how you square any number that ends in 5. How to square any number that ends in 5. Okay, so suppose you have 75. You want to square it. So that's not the 5. Multiply this number by the next number. That is 7 times 8. And then 5 squared, or 25. Any number that ends in 5, when you square it, will end in 25. If you have 105 and you want to square it, it will end in 25. What goes in front of it? Well, ignore every part of the number except the 5. So 10. Excuse me, ignore just the 5. So you get 10. Multiply 10 by 1 more. 10 times 11 is 110. There's the answer. If you have 95 and you want to square it, it ends in 25. Multiply everything but the 5. That is, in this case, the 9 by 1 more. 9 times 10 is 90. There it is. This is how you multiply in your head a number, or square a number in your head that ends in a 5. So if you know that 12 times 13 is 156, then 125 squared is really easy. You take that number, multiply it by 1 more, get your answer, and then always add 25 at the end. So it's 15,625. Now, why does this work? Well, first let's notice that if you have a number that's more than a 2-digit number, this number is always 100 times something, namely this, or can be written like this, plus 5. Okay? Every number, even if it doesn't end in 5. If it ends in 8, then this will be an 8. To give you any number, 1, 2, 7, 2, 4, 3. So let's look at numbers that end in a 5. Of course I meant times 10. I'm so sorry. Of course I meant times 10. If you take this number, 1, 2, 7, 2, 4, 3, and you multiply it by 10, you'll get 1, 2, 7, 4, 3 with a 0. And then you add the 5, and you're going to get the number you started with. You can always break off everything but those single number, the unit number, multiply, which is here, multiply it by 10, and then add on that unit number. So, any number n can be expressed as 10 times k plus 5. Any number that ends in a 5. That ends in a 5. Any number n that ends in a 5 can be expressed that way. Now, let's see what happens when we square it. So, n squared will be 10k plus 5 squared. And here's where I was thinking of 100 before. When you square this, you get 100k squared plus this times 2 is 10 times that is 100k plus 5 squared. That is factoring out the 100 you get 100. I want to think if I want to factor out the k again. You get 100 times k squared plus k plus 25. But I can factor this. I can factor out a k. You get 100 times k, and k times another k gives you the k squared, plus 1. K times 1 gives you the k. So, let's see what happens. You have 100 times k plus 1 plus 25. Now, when you multiply, this time this is going to be a number. Whether it's a single digit number or a 4-digit number, when you multiply it by 100, when you take 72 and you multiply by 100, you're really going to have 72 times 1 and the 2 zeros. That is not touching the tens and the ones place. But when you add the 25, you're always going to end up with 25. Okay, if you multiply some number, some integer by 100, it's not going to affect the ones and tens places. And then when you add 25, you'll have 25 on the end. Okay, now let's look at this a bit more closely. So how do you get the number of hundreds? How do you get the number of hundreds? Well, look at this. You take the k and you multiply it by one more. You multiply that by 100. That is, write down that answer, write it down, whatever it is, and then have 2 places left over for the 25. So there's the proof as to why it works. If you have 10 times a number, if you have 10 times 71324 plus 5, which would be 713, this number will be 713240, but then you add a 5, so it becomes a 5. This is the k. And after all, here's 10, here's 10, here's plus 5, k, that must be the k, 71324. It's everything but that 5. That's your k. And down here, after we squared a number that ends in 5, we got this result here, which says to take k, multiply it by one more, then multiply it by 100. That is, just write down that number and have 2 spaces left over and put in the 25. Okay, so once again, if you have, I don't know, 45 and you want to square it, 4 times 5 is 20, put 25 on the end. The reason is, again, 45 squared is the same as 40 plus 5. So, you square the 40, you do this times 2 is 10, times that is 400, plus the 5 squared. Now, 40 squared means 40 times 40, plus 400, plus 25. Just to save a little time, 4 times 10 is 40, times another 40, which is 4 times 10. This is 16 times 100, plus 4 times 100, plus 25. So you end up with 16 plus 4 hundredths, plus 25. But this is 20. This is the same as 5 times 4 times 100 plus 25. So whatever this is, when you multiply it by 100, it's going to have 2 zeros on the end. These are 2 zeros. Why didn't I write it? Because when I add 25, they're going to become 25. It always works out this way. Multiply this number. It might be many digits. It's this number. It's the 45 without the 5. Or the 245 without the 5. Whatever it is. Okay, if somebody asked me what 245 squared is, how much is 245? Well, I know it ends in 25, and 24 times 25. I know that I would love for this to have a 4 factor of 4. It's 6 times 4. Because now I can multiply 4 by 25 easily. That's 100 times 6 is 600. So there's the answer. 60,025. 24 squared in your head. Sorry. 245 squared in your head. All you have to do is realize that this is 6 times 4 times 25. 100 times 6, 625. 625. 60,025. A real neat way of multiplying by or squaring a number that ends in a 5. So one last comment I want to make. If you have a number, I don't know, 113425, and you want to square it, and you don't have a lot of time to do this. And you don't have a calculator. So rather than doing 113425 times 113425 and dealing with the 5, you're going to have to multiply the 5 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 digits. And then you're going to have, so that's 5. Then you're going to have to multiply the 2 by the 1, the 5, the 4 by the 5, the 3 by the 5, the 1 by the 5, and the 1 by the 5. That's another 5. So you're going to have 10 extra steps to do. And you have this timed exam. Well, what you can do with pencil and paper is to just multiply these two numbers. I don't know what you get. Please make believe you get 1, 2, 3, 7, 2, 1, 4. So then you write down the answer is 1, 2, 3, 7, 2, 1, 4, 2, 5. And you save 10 multiplications. Okay? You did not have to do 5 by each of these numbers. That's going to give you a whole nother column of numbers. And then multiply the other digits by the 5. You didn't do any of that. You can just do that multiplication, get your answer, and then write 2, 5. And please, most probably that answer is not right, but I think you understood what I'm saying. Okay, so hopefully you really like this video. It's pretty neat how you can square a number that ends in 5. Or even if you need pencil and paper, this shortcut method does make considerable less multiplication that you have to compute, less errors. I mean, for example, you know it's going to end in 25. That's never going to be wrong. If you like mathematics like this, continue viewing my channel, subscribe, leave comments below. Have a great day. Thank you.